Alright, here we have the Rugged Ridge flush mount taillights for the Jeep Gladiator. Finished up my install. Let me hit my... Didn't mean to hit the panic button there, but there you go. You can see the lights blinking. Go ahead and lock her up. Get the other light blink. There you go. I like the look. I have a few concerns about them, but stick around, watch my full install video here that follows, and then you can kind of make your own decisions there as you will. But I'm happy with the way they look. I'm hoping they hold up, and I'm glad I got them on, and I'm ready to go. I got functioning taillights again after the old ones made a lot of contact with the trees. So there you go. Hope this video helps anybody else make the decision who's looking into any type of lighting like this for their Jeep Gladiator. Alrighty, another day out here, about to do some work on the Gladiator. This time we're going to be messing with the taillights again. So these ones, they held up pretty good since I plastic welded them back together, because I beat them up on the trails pretty good. They actually took turns hanging out of the body. The problem now is, and I don't know if they'll do it when I click the remote here, so they blink. This one over here on the passenger side, it no longer works in running light mode, only for when you lock, unlock, and when I hit the brakes. So pass inspection and keep it legal, we're gonna have to replace that. So did some research. I wanted something that I could hopefully keep from smashing on trees as much. And there's various brands out there, as I'm sure most of you know, but I didn't like most of them. I didn't like the looks, so I'm interested to try these out. I ended up going with these Rugged Ridge ones. So I like the style of them. I like that they're flush, they're tight to the body. I didn't need the parking sensors or lane assist or anything like that, so I didn't have to worry about anything fancy. So I'm interested to really see these. I haven't pulled them out of the box yet. So and the one thing that I really like about these is they use kind of like a standard trailer light. So if I ever need to replace any of that stuff, it's fairly simple. There's a lot of options out there. So let's get ahead and open these. The one thing that I've heard from a complaint issue on these, and I've seen in some of the reviews when I was doing some research, is people didn't like that there's some assembly required, but that I'm not really worried about. So let's see what we're working with here. So here we go. Looks like we got the panel shells coming out first. And as you can kind of see there, it's a nice molded piece of plastic here. I like it. Now these are plastic. There is another couple companies that make versions of these that are metal. I didn't really like the price tag that came along with those, so we avoided that. But these ones aren't bad. I like the look of them out of the box. It's kind of not a bad looking part. You can see here, so there's where we'll screw in, and now the nubs here are plastic that push in, so if they do take a hit, I could see these breaking off. But I also see here I could drill through these and put a piece of metal in there to be that plug if I needed to. So not too terrible. But as you could tell, they don't have any of the lighting hardware in them, so that's that some assembly required that everyone was talking about when I was looking at reviews. So let me get this garbage out of the way and we'll take a look at what's else. Alright, let's see what else we got in the box. Looks like the good old instruction set, and what is hopefully a tail light wiring harness for LED. It does say BSM sensor, so I don't know if this does. I didn't think this was capable with a sensor, but maybe it is. Like I said, I don't need that, so it wasn't something big on my list. I guess we'll start with some instructions here. Why the heck not? Since I do have to build them. See what they got me doing here. Second. I mean, so far the instructions are decent quality. I've seen a lot worse coming out of parts I've ordered on the internet, so Looks pretty straightforward. Remove your factory taillights. Done that too many times since I'm on my second set there and had to rebuild them once already, so really that's not a problem. Shows us putting some grommets in, installing the lights. Looks like just a bunch of connectors, which was kind of the one key complaint that I had seen from other reviews on the internet, but otherwise it looks pretty straightforward. Put the lights in the housing, plug her all together, and away you go. So let's see what we got. Looks like we got a harness for the JLJT. I'm guessing this is light kit. There we go. That should be my lights. Kinda. Excuse me while I just take a picture here so we have a nice little photo of what we're working with. Not too shabby. So let's see what we got in the harness box first. Alright. Looks like we got our harnesses. These have the little resistors built in, so since my Jeep doesn't have the factory LED kit, I shouldn't have to worry about any error lights or anything like that coming up on the dash, which the lights I have on now were LED, and I didn't have any issues either because they had the same resistor style ones in there. So here we go, nice looking LED. I believe they're 6-inch, yeah, about 6-inch trailer lights. Not bad. Like I said, that was one of the pluses for me on this style taillight, simply because I wanted the interchangeability down the road if they ever had a LED go out or I broke something, you know, you never know. And I will say, I don't remember seeing it in the photo. I'm not really a fan that these side markers have a chrome ring on it. That isn't really my style, but maybe I'll address that down the road. I'll either paint it, wrap it, or maybe I'll get these replaced. You can get a bunch of, I'll size it and I can get like a smoked LED to replace that online too. Should be pretty handy there, so not too big of a deal. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just put this sucker together. Then I'll worry about taking the old lights out because I know they come out in like 2 seconds. That's not really a problem. So let's go ahead and start with that. Let's I don't remember seeing anything about it in the instructions, but I think they gave me some electrical grease here. Oh no, this is adhesion promoter. I don't know why they gave me that. I did not see that in the instructions, so not too worried about it though. So let's go ahead and pop the light out of the rubber gasket trim ring. We'll push that right into the housing here. Try to raise this up, make sure I at least show you all what's going on. Pretty straightforward. That went right in there, no problems. Now it should just be fairly snug. I want to make sure I just got it past the lip on the inside, and it won't really, sorry, I said fairly snug, but I mean fairly loose, because until we actually get the light in there, it really doesn't have any rigidity to that piece. Push the light in all around. The one side doesn't want to pop in on you. Don't want to torque the plastic too much, so I don't want to put a lot of force on it. Maybe this is why people didn't like the some assembly required part of this project. I've taken these lights out of trailers before, and they do have a little bit of a struggle sometimes depending on how the gasket's seated. Alright, so I think we're in there. No, we're definitely not in there. All right, let's try that again. Pull the whole light assembly back out. Seat this sucker in here. I think part of the problem is there's these little notches on the gasket that you kind of got to get around the frame of the plastic to allow it to all kind of go together far enough into the housing. Beat up the new light, but I kind of need a flat surface to put some force on it. There we go. Actually, I got a little blanket I had in here for my cornhole boards. Put this on the tailgate. See if I could push down on the inside and not scuff up the light. I'll be honest, I was expecting this to be the easy part. Already drew a little blood, so we'll see. I will say you do have to be careful. This thing does flex a good bit as I'm pushing on it, so I'm trying to not put any unnecessary torque onto the actual body of the taillight assembly, and just around the area where the light seats at. All right, there we go. Maybe not. Thought we had it. Can't tell if that's in all the way, if I like it or not. There is a little bit of a contour to the light, so it isn't exactly flat. So when I look at it from a side, I do get a little bit of a contour. Let's set that one aside and try number 2 and see if we like how this one goes, and then I'll compare them. I've knocked the entire taillight out on a trail. I don't want the light falling out of the housing on a trail. Now I guess the other option is to try to put it all together as one now that it's nicely seated in the gasket to start. Usually it's a little snug doing it that way with these style lights, but I'm going to try it just... Yeah, that's what I thought. There's no way, because of the way these are designed, this ridge here needs to be inside of that lip. So let's try this again. See how we get this. I will say the one thing I think is part of the problem is when I look at the design, this ridge here doesn't go deep enough into the housing to clear this inside lip. If y'all can see that here. See how it doesn't clear that lip? Like if I pull it in like that, it does, but then it gives you this weird bend to the actual gasket. So I think part of their problem is that ridge needed to be deeper, or the housing needed to be a hair shallower, because it's not actually allowing the light to seep in and that to latch into the actual housing. So let's see how this one goes if I press it in. Similar to the other one, where it doesn't seem like it wants to seat itself all the way. Let's not put that much pressure on the outside edge. I will say this part is a little disappointing, because I was very excited about this product, and this is kind of taking some of the wind out of my sails on it, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. That it doesn't quite fit the lights that it came with. I could see if I had tried to go with my own set down the road, but this might not, this could be a problem. But the fact that the ones it came with don't fit quite right, that's a little bit annoying, because I don't know how well it'll show up here on camera, but you can see those tabs, they just don't want to clear the housing of the light, and there's a good 1/8 of an inch all around where this whole light fixture should press farther in. So I'm not sure about that. Let me go back to the good old instructions here just to make sure that I'm not overlooking something, since I kind of sped through it. But so no, it doesn't give you any real hints or anything in the instructions. So that's a negative there for me as well, because these side ones should go in. I don't even want to mess with them until I get these ones to a happy place, simply because they'll just be in my way, and I don't want to put unnecessary pressure or tank or anything on them. So let me play around with this here for a minute. I was gonna say pause the video, but why not let you guys see me struggle here? If I gotta speed it up, I'll speed it up. But yeah, it definitely wants to fit. It's so close. If I rock it side to side, one side goes in. Let me try. I think the inside, it's technically the outside of the light. That's easier for me to put pressure on. So let me try rocking this side in, and then I can push. Yeah, no bueno on that. It's still these gasket just does not want to allow it in because of how tight everything is in the housing. Like I said, that's very disappointing. So if I push just the end, that looks like the end seats as far as it should go in. I don't know. I'm gonna at least run these for a short time. Like I said, I need some lights to stay legal. I got my good old inspection coming up here, so I'm gonna give them a shot, but I'm not exactly keen on how their lights are designed to fit into the housing itself. This is kind of a huge design flaw, in my opinion, because I feel like I could easily put enough pressure. I don't know if you just heard that little pop. Like where I'm pushing on this, I feel like I'm gonna just break the plastic housing, like these in here. This little part is kind of loose. I don't know if that's for securing part of the wiring harness. Maybe that's where they expect me to put that resistor. I'm not sure why that is. These two little internal tabs there, that wasn't really in the pictures and the instructions, but it's not for mounting of the light to the vehicle. But my concern is you know, driving down the road, or we got a lot of potholes out here, and then obviously on the trails, this whole light falling out of the housing simply due to bumping around, because it does not lock in like one of these trailer style lights should. Ooh, there we go. Did I just crack it? Something popped there when I was pressing on this edge. I don't know if I'm popping. It looks like this is kind of plastic welded together, so I might be breaking those, which also is not good. Alright, I don't know. Kind of disappointed right now. I thought this was going to be a quick install for a really neat set of lights, and I'm not really happy with them. Yeah, my excitement level is tanked, to be perfectly honest. Go ahead and pause this video. I'll putz around with these and we'll pick up in a little bit and see what's going on. All right, we're back. Took a quick break, did some research, found out it seems like most of the time when they're putting these together, when it didn't seat in all the way, that's the way everybody did it. Even some of the install videos I saw, not a big fan of that, but I guess it is what it is. I actually came here and I shaved a little taper into these edges here on this so I could seat the light a little bit deeper into the housing, but that's really it. And I guess the rest of it is just deal with it, but we'll see. I'm still not crazy about that design setup, but I mean, when I push them out as I've been messing with them, it's not like they pop out instantly, so maybe it's not a big deal, but not quite exactly the happiest on that, but is what it is. So we'll go ahead and march on. So that's in there now, got them in both sides. Now we got to get into the wiring. So according to them, this is pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead, see what this wiring harness is looking like. Alright, so pretty straightforward. Got our 3-prong plug here that goes into the main light we just installed. Then we'll have the yellow wire to connect to the yellow wire coming out of there. Then I should have a white, white, red, and black wires here. And these will all go to the side marker light. So let's kind of put this in a position where it's not going to be as tangled up in as possible. So let's see about plugging this in. A lot of them, they should plug in this in before you put the light in. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that as far as fitting it in. We'll see if I can make it work. If not, I'll pull the light back out. But now that I'm, in quotes, happy with how I have it in the housing, but that clicked in fairly easy, so I'm not really worried about that. We'll fish the wiring harness up through the main part of the body here and get it to where we need it to be. So that's all in there. We'll take our yellow wire, and then I guess before I get too carried away here, what I want to remember is they sent me some heat shrink wraps here. So we'll actually go ahead and slide this over. Now we'll connect all our wires there. Alright, so now let's get our side marker lights in. Got these. Remember I said I hated that silver trim ring on here? I didn't paint it. I had a little bit of extra pieces of vinyl laying around from where I've wrapped my dash and some other accessories on the Jeep. So just went ahead and wrapped that with this digital camo real quick. I didn't even bother getting all the wrinkles out because it's literally a little piece of vinyl that barely fits the light. So we'll see how it holds up, but I figured it's better than nothing. make me like it a little bit more. So we'll go ahead here and we'll push in this little rubber grommet. Then I should be able to just feed the wires. Let's make sure I'm not put them where they need to go, and then I should be able to just push the light right into that grommet. Alright, so that light's in there now. Not terrible looking. Maybe I'll use the heat gun and work out some of those wrinkles. Maybe I won't. I'm going to drag it on trees, so I'm not really too concerned there, to be perfectly honest, either way. So now let's begin connecting our other wiring here. So heat shrink, black wire to black wire, another heat shrink, red wire, and white wire. Let's try to not do this in the least tangled fashion possible. Alright, white wire. Now, part of me really wants to test this before I go ahead and heat shrink all this, but I'm going to say heck with it and take the risk and see what happens. So bust out my little heat gun here and let's see what we could do. Let's make sure where we at. So that rubber side is kind of the one done, 3 to go on this one. We'll save that yellow one for last. That's the shortest one and most likely going to be the most pain. Alrighty, got those heat shrunk. Like I said, hopefully they work and we'll be good to go. Now, I don't see anything in the instructions, and there was no included hardware for the mounting of any of this stuff here, whether it be this little resistor, and these sometimes get warm, and I can kind of tell, it doesn't look like there's a lot of wiring, but it almost looks like they had a spot for it, but it doesn't seem to want to fit there either. And then same with this big old connection here. It almost looks like you could put it in right there with a screw. So let me go see what I got laying around in the garage. I wouldn't mind probably putting that in there. I don't know. Or if I let this whole bundle just go, maybe I'll just zip tie this bundle a little bit and see what that looks like. So, alright, give me a second, I'll be right back. Alright, grab some zip ties. Decided to go that route just in case whatever happens here, I don't like it and I need to come back in and change something. I figure zip ties are the easiest to cut and redo, so we'll start with that, see what happens once we get out in the woods and beat it up a little bit, and we could always evolve from there. So kind of just clean up this harness mess a little bit. And none of this is difficult, but I could see why somebody looking for a plug-and-play option would be a little annoyed with it. I don't mind doing a little heat shrinking or even crimping if I had to on my own, so it's not terrible, like I said, but I wouldn't exactly call it plug-and-play. It's going to take a little bit of work beyond your standard plug-and-play application. So just something to keep in mind when you're looking at options for your tail lights. Like I said though, as long as they function, they do what I need them to do, and hopefully they can avoid some of the trees and the rocks on the trails because they're tucked in a little bit tighter. That's like my main concern there. So that's not terrible. We'll keep this loose because these do sometimes generate heat. I want to kind of keep that away from the rest of the wiring. Maybe I'll attach it somewhere in the truck. I did that with my older lights. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so this one here is kind of buttoned up and ready to go. Install it and test it and see what happens. Before I test it, I'll just get the other one buttoned up, so if these are both ready, I can get it knocked out and installed pretty quickly. So I'll go ahead and pause the video real quick. I'll handle the connecting and the heat shrinking on the other ones, and I'll come back and see you guys in a second. Alrighty, we're back. I got both wirings buttoned up here on both of these taillights. So now should be the easy part, swapping out the ones I already got on the vehicle. And we'll start over here at the driver's side. This is the one that's not working in running light mode for me. So if you haven't removed the taillights on your Gladiator yet, it's very simple. It's two 8mm screws, bolts, whatever you're gonna call them. They kind of have a self-tapping style point on them, so kind of, I guess, a screw with a hex head on it. Those go into the body of the light, and I'm assuming I'm going to reuse these because I didn't get any with my new lights I got here from Rugged Ridge, so we'll reuse these. Try to keep my arm out of the way for y'all. Alright, so that's out. Now the taillight's loose. There's just those two plugs that go straight in, so we just want to kind of pull it straight backwards. You can see here's that plug that was in there, so let's go ahead, and I usually just let it hang a little bit, and these ones we just got a little push to release. These ones didn't have the locking tab like the factory lights did, and then on this one I kind of, let me pull this double stick tape off here. This is where I was talking about that little resistor type deal that the lights have. I just put them into the body on these little brackets with some double-sided tape, keep them away from everything else if they got hot. Now that I'm looking at it, I got these brackets and they're the same size resistor. Maybe I'll repurpose these for the new lights. Should have enough slack in the wiring to put it there. We'll see. We'll get everything together. I'll think about that. All right. Now that that's out, let's grab the appropriate light. Should be this one. So again, install's not going to be too difficult. We got our two holes for our self-tapping screws to go in. The one part I don't like on these lights, as I talked about earlier in the video, that those little tabs are plastic here. That seems like a very weak spot in my opinion. If you look on my old light here, you can see how they're metal in there. I might end up having to steal them out of this old light and put them on this when these ones blow out. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Let me go ahead and plug this in, and you can see this one has the locking tab like your factory tail light does. So we'll push that in, nice little click, push that red lock in. All right, so everything seems to be connected. Kind of keep that out of the way. Just trying to check my clearances here if I want to mess around with, you know what? There's a little bit of room there and enough wire. I think I might go grab some double-sided tape. Let's see how everything else kind of fits in. There's a lot of frame there. The light, maybe it won't work. All right, we'll try this. We're gonna push the little tabs in. So those popped in nicely. Guess I could have cleaned the Jeep. It's pretty dirty. I could hear the dirt underneath it, but not too worried about it. So, okay, you can see here too. Now the tabs are in, I kind of got to give this a little push to close that gap on the panel. So maybe the fitment ain't the best, and you can kind of see in the hole here when I push in, it then lines up. So maybe another little negative factor to keep in mind on these particular lights. Again, not something I would say I'm super concerned with, because they do fit in the show truck by any means, but everybody's got their own priorities, so keep in mind that this might not have the best fitment for you. Get this one started. Alright, one started. That Jeep doesn't give you a lot of room with this little bar there to get this one in, but be a lot easier if I didn't have to push the light body in. There we go. Alright. Got her started. Alright. I know that's just plastic under there, so we're not gonna be very careful here about how many ugga-duggas we put on this. I don't want to snap or strip that out. So, okay. We got it snugged up. The body's staying tight now where it needs to be, so we're looking good. I ain't gonna lie, I like the fit and finish on it from the way it kind of meets the body panels and everything like that. It does look good on the vehicle, so that's a win for me. My terrible vinyl wrap job aside. So before we get too crazy and do the other side, let's hit the unlock here. Alright, perfect. So when I unlock the vehicle, I get my normal running light like you can see on that one. So that's actually a plus compared to my old one. So let me go ahead and swap out the other side, and we'll do a couple tests to see exactly what we look like here. So be back in a second. Alright, back here, got both taillights in the vehicle. If I hit my remote, they all seem to light up and work correctly. So let me go hit the 4-ways and some turn signals and see what we get. Alright, got 4-ways going. Everything seems to be functioning. Now, they definitely have a clicking noise coming from them. I don't know if that's that relay that they got in there or that resistor, but I mean, I'm not going to hear it, I guess, so it's not the end of the world, but a little odd. But let's go try putting this thing in reverse. Well, that's interesting. It's currently in reverse and I have no reverse lights. So I don't know if that's because I shut the truck off or if I've never tried to put the truck in reverse and get out. It wouldn't let me do it without starting it. So let's try that again. Like it. So it's in reverse right now, and I got no reverse lights. That's not good. So that's a fail there. It's in reverse, got the parking brake on. I should have my lights on. So the lights are on there. I got no reverse lights though, so now I'm bummed because now I still won't pass inspection. It's supposed to have reverse lights in it. It's always got to be something. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to continue to mess around with this, see what happens. Alrighty, so as I'm sure you saw in the previous portion of videos there, the reverse lights are working. I learned something new about the Gladiator while messing with these lights, is that apparently if you open the door and get out or shut the vehicle off, even though it's in reverse, it disables the reverse lights, which is weird. I don't believe I've ever had a vehicle do that before. Normally you could leave it in reverse, put the parking brake on, hop out, and the lights are still on, or you could put it in reverse, shut the vehicle off, and the lights still stay on because it's in reverse. So something weird with the Gladiator that kills the reverse lights doing that. But I tested my theory last night where I could actually see the reverse lights from inside the cab, and they all seem to be working as expected, aside from those weird idiosyncrasies I just mentioned. They're definitely way brighter than the factory ones or the ones I had in my other aftermarket set of lights that I just removed. So I'm very happy with that, the increased brightness on the backup lights, because anyone that has one of these Gladiators knows the factory backup lights are terrible. So let's just kind of take a look here at the end. I got them all installed. I like the look of them. They fit the body pretty well. You can see, I mean, there's a little bit of a gap, but any light that bolts in like that has a little bit of a gap. So it fits inside here to this part of the tub very well. No real complaints. Same with over here. This one I could tell it's a little bit of a gap down here, but I can't blame the lights on that. I got some body damage, as you can see, so we're not going to blame the light on that one. I really do like the design of the light and the look. I like how they stick in, you know, they're flush inside the body, so hopefully they'll hold up a lot better to the trails than any of the other lights I've had previously. My only real gripe is the construction just seems to not quite be there from a quality perspective where I would expect. I don't mind that they're plastic. It just seems it's not going to hold up. We'll find out, depending on, you know, what happens to it. Especially that, you know, as we looked when I put it together, that internal part of it where everything mounts there, those little tabs and everything seems kind of weak. So I'm going to be very interested to see how these hold up from a longevity perspective. And then same with the installing of the actual round lights here. I didn't like how the gasket didn't quite fit the housing of the light there. And then you can kind of see there's this little bit of a gap. It doesn't fit and finish, just leaves a little bit to be desired. So I'd give these like a 7 out of 10. I'm still very happy with them. Like I said, as long as they hold up, I'll be even happier with them. There's just a few things with that, you know, that little quality bump that I wish was there. But again, maybe they hold up great and I never have a problem, so we'll see how that goes then. But that's basically it. That's my install slash first-hand immediate thoughts on these Rugged Ridge flush mount taillights for the Jeep Gladiator. We'll see how they hold up, and hopefully they're great and I love them. So that's basically it. Glad you guys came and watched the video. Hopefully if this was something you're interested in, you got the information you needed to make a decision one way or the other for yourself. So appreciate you watching. Thank you.